The same individuals now that are just getting into real estate saying it's hard and competitive and the market's not in their favor, I was hearing the same thing 10 years ago when I got in. That's never gonna change.
Find some sort of harmony and balance.
So ladies and gentlemen, BC here. Welcome back to another video. Look, this video is extremely important. Although it is a basic subject, the more conversations I have with people and the more I look at individuals around me, I see that this is either misunderstood or not being implemented at the level that it has to be implemented at, all right? And I'm gonna ask you a question and we'll start from there. From that money that you make, number one, what portion of it, and you can comment below, what portion of it is being reinvested back into things? Number one, we'll start with that. But number two, how much is your money working for you? Meaning the money that you've generated, we can say from inception, the first day that you started making money until now. We are in March 18th, 2022. How much of that money has been put into things that make you money, meaning investments? And how much money are you generating now from that previous money that you generated that has been pushed into things that now generate money for you either passively or residually? I'll give you a second to type it in the comments or to think about it. Because for most of you, virtually all of you, it's gonna be zero. Meaning, if you stop working right now, you haven't invested in anything that generates money for you. And this has to be a huge wake-up call for most of you because as you've seen, what did they do in the last 2 years? They've printed like 80% of the currency that we currently use here in the United States. Inflation has gone up. Your dollar is worth less and less as time goes on. Now, regardless of how that pans out, we know through history and over time, the currency that we use continuously gets devalued, right? And we know cost of living goes up, cost of goods and services. You know, right now it's crazy, right? But let's put the craziness aside. Just in general, the stuff goes up. You know, I help people sell homes in the last couple of years that are worth $500,000 to 3 million, and they all bought those homes for 10,000, 15, 20,000, right? So the prices go up. What are you doing? Right? I'm making some moves. The most recent moves that I've made, like I bought a boat slip. I'm about to buy a boat and buy some other things here that I can use in Florida to take advantage of all the movement and the tourism. I'm adding more things. Now, I already have a ton of stuff that makes me a lot of money, but these other investments are specifically for that, for enjoyment, but also to make money. Is that a part of your plan, right? All the hot topics I know are very popular of, self-improvement and get better and generate, work on your active income, right? For those of you who follow me who are business people, real estate people, you wanna work on your income. Of course, you want to increase your active income, but is your money working for you? The wealthiest people have their money working for them. It's one thing to invest in real estate and stuff like that, that's great, but there's a million other things that you can invest in. Let me give you some ideas. I'm here in South Florida, Miami, Florida, right? Shout out to Florida. There's so much you can invest in. I just started looking around. I asked myself, and this is a good question you can present yourself, how can I enjoy, right? How can I maybe acquire something or enjoy something and also make money with it? Real estate is one way for sure. How about a boat? And I said, I'm gonna take it to another degree. I'm not gonna rent where I have my boat, which is a possibility, a slip. I'm gonna buy one. Then I'm gonna own the boat. And then guess what? When I don't use it, I'm gonna rent it out to people and hire somebody to manage that for me. Also, I love jet skis. I'm gonna buy two and rent them out and make money. You know, another thing that I see, the car that you see here all the time, I don't understand the hype behind them, but people love them. Those slingshots, right? They have the 2 wheels on the front and the 1 wheel on the back. Cool, neat concept. I'm not a fan of it, but guess what? I'm going to buy 1, maybe 2, and rent them out. Why? It makes me money. I hire somebody, they get a cut of it, right? They can keep a cut of the total income that we have. They manage it, I'm hands off, and guess what? Because of my investments, and by the way, all those things minus the boat slip, which we can say can exceed 6 figures in some cases, not always, aren't massive investments. And guess what? I can finance a jet ski if I really wanted to. I can finance a boat. I mean, even if you have to leverage and incur some debt, you can still turn it around and make money. Now, I'll leave it up to you guys to do your research on things like that in your areas or in this area, how much money you can generate and all that. I'm not gonna bore you with the numbers, but the bottom line is that can make me money without me having to work in it. Passive and residual, we say those words all the time, but what does it actually mean? And sometimes you're gonna have to get creative and think outside of the box. Why? Because if you live, I don't know, an address that I just saw in Cadillac, Michigan, maybe the jet skis and the boats and all that stuff and the slingshots, maybe it's not a big thing over there. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, because I think there's a big lake there, right? Cadillac Lake. Maybe you can do the boat thing, but maybe there's not enough tourism to substantiate that expenditure for how much you can make an income versus here in Florida. But you have to get creative now and say, how am I gonna do it? Because if you're not, you are drastically behind. I made a promise to myself a long time ago I would never struggle again financially. And now I'm in a position where I help a lot of people, right? I don't have to give you the numbers. I don't sit here and talk about it all the time, but a lot of money exchanges hands, and I do things that, because of the position that I put myself in, I'm able to do it on top of all these other things. But my mind is primarily focused on that. At the bare minimum, we're gonna say invest first, then spend, right? That's an old classic, like self-help, basic financial 101 tip that you're given. Of course, it makes sense. But even me, I presented things like, hey, how can I enjoy and make money at the same time? That's another possibility. That's how I came up with all this jet ski stuff and boat stuff, right? I had to get out of my one-lane highway of real estate, which I own a ton of real estate already. So what are you gonna do? Because some of you, again, depending on your level of finances, you're still gonna be able to invest in things. I know people who buy cars or lease cars or do whatever, and they rent them on Turo, that app, right? I'm not too familiar with that, but that's something else that they do too. Same thing with the slingshots, right? That's a possibility for you. I don't know. But there's a lot of ways, if you start to think and you really apply yourself in this field, for you to make your money work for you. But again, it has to become a priority. I understand everybody right now, a lot of people are saying, oh man, it's tough. Look, no matter what, the market's gonna go up and down. It's always gonna be, in quotes, tough. What are you gonna do? The same individuals now that are just getting into real estate saying it's hard and competitive and the market's not in their favor, I was hearing the same thing 10 years ago when I got in. That's never gonna change. You're gonna have to do something about it. You're gonna have to figure it out, understand the variables of the market and conditions that you're currently in, have some success, create some capital for yourself through your sales and your hard work, and then take that money first before splurging on a bunch of bullshit and say, how am I gonna make this work for me? These are conversations that I love having with people, but very few people actually want to have these conversations, because I don't just go around having these conversations with everybody. Why? Because if I'm sitting there having a conversation with you about this or giving you advice and you're not gonna do shit about it, I don't wanna talk to you about it. And I can tell right away if you're gonna do something or not. And that shit pisses me off. If you're gonna make a commitment, do something about it. Do something, please. Even if you have to invest in a toy that people are gonna rent out from you, other kids, for like 10 bucks a day, cool, but that's fine, do that. Become your own Blockbuster where you rent out your games to people, great, whatever, figure it out. But start making your assets or your money work for you. In the long term, this is what creates that ease for you mentally more than anything financially, because once you have that ease, you unlock another piece of your creativity and your flow that otherwise is always going to be hindered because you have that anxiety and insecurity about money and where your rent money is going to come from and where your next meal is going to be, etc., etc. When you hear there's levels to the game, that's that reference. So please make your money work for you. Do something about it. And when you do, you're gonna see and come back here or be breaking bread with your peers at that moment in time and say, okay, I get it. And that's ultimately what I want for you, but you have to do something about it. All these other things are outside of our control. What's under your control is your hustle, your ability to create capital, and then what you're gonna do with it, all right? So please do something about it. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave a link below with all my programs, all my courses, all the links and all that stuff. You guys can check it out, like Modern Success, Limitless, and everything else that I have to offer. But until then, we'll see you on the next video. Peace.